the basis on it is people have been doing this for an awful long time. It was this set up a long time ago to get into the game and create a real live gaming experience. And is the very nature of where he's from in Queensland makes it a little difficult to just buy equipment from all over the world to start. So he actually had to make his own gear to really get this thing going. And the next thing you know, 10 years later, he's got 400 locations. But he's got a background in computer science, now gaming, and now he started Battlefield Sports since probably 2001 or something like that.
No, we're running games in '99.
There you go. So I'll let you take it from there.
We've run it for a while. Okay. It was a pretty ordinary experience in '99, but
I don't know what that is.
So welcome along, everybody. This is going to be interesting today. We've got tremendous diversity within our group, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about the state of the industry. That's actually pretty common. In terms of getting down to the nuts and bolts today, we're going to have to go in a few different directions. Not everything's going to be relevant to everybody, and that's just the nature of it, because it's everything. It's diverse. What I want to go through quickly, I want to go for a little bit of a run through. I just worked at the conference, main conference. This is the training day, so I want to really compress, just overview of some things covered. People in the conference are probably going to be a little bit, do it again, but I think it's important. A little bit of the state of the industry, some of the success factors we've found within the business over the years, been around the world, seen all that. I want to go into quite a bit of detail today, if I get time to go through conducting a Battlefield Live session and some of the options for that. That can be done really badly, often is. But at any point today, if there's something that you don't really understand, it's a small group, really stop it, right? I don't want to keep this going on and I've lost you, right? Small group, please jump in. Might be terminology, right? Being Australian, and sometimes use terminology a different way. A pretty good example of that was last year. I was talking a lot about hire, right? And in the US, that usually means to hire staff, right, to come and work for you. And that is a use of the word hire, but actually in the rest of the English speaking world, right, hire actually means to rent as well. You can just rent something, right? It doesn't just mean firing staff in that context, right? Or it has a different. I was using it in a completely different meaning. So what is he going on about? We don't know. So yeah, that can happen. Please stop me. Look, the state. Let's go quickly for the state of the industry. The reason that's relevant is because it can give some idea of what's working and what's not as the trends, and then I'll go into some success factors. Right. I've got a little bit of a quick slideshow. I'll go way off track on this a few times, but we'll start. Yeah. The main thing, look, this slide's got, and I think actually this room is really is commercial laser tag is actually extremely diverse. Everything from theme parks, mobile parties to MilSim, Call of Duty type of thing. There's tremendous diversity, right? And there's increasing and necessary specialisation, right? That actually flows on from that. And I'm going to explain more about that as we go. So multi-activity is starting to really happen. Multi-activity means that a lot of locations mixing with other things, so there's a whole range of options for people to do if that's where they path, and there's a lot of synergies. Yes. So, and one of the reasons for that, and one very important reason for that multi-activity trend is it lowers customer acquisition costs, right? And that's absolutely a key success factor, right? And that's really important. Another trend, no doubt, another trend is to horror and zombies. A lot of people are doing a lot of things like that. You don't have to, right? And there's lots of but some people are specialising in that. There's even some people, mixing it in with like a haunted house as a horror experience. Right now that's very trendy. I've run some zombie games. People run some zombie games. They are fun. They can go horribly wrong, certainly, right? Horribly wrong. It's not that simple, but it's a trend line. There's also, this is significant too. There's definitely been a trend since I started. It's been the various specialisations become a lot more professional. right? It was in the past very much an enthusiast's type of thing to do. It was right out on the limb. It wasn't commercially accepted generally. Mainstream, it's kind of more mainstream, commercially accepted, and that's something that has changed the nature of it. That's my partner Nicole.
The counter.
Next to me. Yeah, so we've been around the world. We've been operators from all sorts of planet, and also obviously talk to them. So there's fixed fields. Lots of there's people built like battlefields. That one's particularly not a great picture.
Is that an Amtrak?
I think it might be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is actually in the UK. They put a lot of different armoured vehicles. They actually, they're funny. They got an APC second hand out of Serbia, and and all the way to the UK, and they were cleaning it out, right? They were cleaning it out, ready, right, make it safe. And actually, it's in the UK, and this is actually in part of a larger theme park. This is a field within a theme park, right? And they actually have a lot of little kids and mixed fun. It's actually part of a theme park, which is really consistent with the multi-activity. It's worked really well. But they got on national media over this APC, and because they actually found live grenades in it.
Personal carrier.
Yeah. Sorry. Again, well, that's a good question. It's really easy to get into an accurate zone, and you don't always get right. Yeah, having been trained. APC, armed personnel carrier. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the last thing you want to find in a kid's theme park, right?
Hey, mommy, what's this?
All the way to the corner.
So that was all over the BBC in England. That was a big thing. Fortunately, no kid had ever used it. They were preparing it. But gee, I wonder how they got it in the country. That was a bit of an issue too.
Believe it or not, that happens more than you think. When we were coming back from Afghanistan, the best way to explain it, I've been a platoon sergeant, which at my rank doesn't happen very often. I'm a senior non-commissioned officer, so I'm more in the upper echelon, but I like getting in the dirt with my men. I'm a Marine, I'm not the Army. So I believe a true leader leads from the front, not from the back with a cup of coffee. We had weapons coming back from overseas that were not supposed to be coming back. And I'm guilty of it myself. This is when I first came home, so it's not as uncommon as you think.
Absolutely. But these guys were pretty surprised because they thought they were just buying the APC. They didn't really second hand, and here we are. Oops. But it was curious, and they do a pretty good job. They were pulled on and making it real, and doing stuff like there's some various vehicles he's got around the side.
Don't mind me, what theme park is that?
That is actually a place called the Big Sheep, of all places, in North Devon. Yeah. But it's worked really well. Like they just do tens of thousands of people. It's seasonal. It's definitely seasonal. Winter they don't do a lot. They do some actually. I've been there in winter and they're doing private groups and stuff, and it's really cold and it's really wet. Yeah. So there's the snow through the field. Yeah, that's.
Let's do a little World War II action.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. It's pretty cool. It's an immersive experience, and that's really fun. And they actually still use a combination of SATAR and classic being on the event. Right? They've got hundreds of gaming guns, so I think they may have upgraded. But there's also other varieties, and that's one of the things I wanted to point out. That was actually from Top Gear. They were using the equipment for some thing they were doing there, where they were trying to shoot him as he was running around. But you've got inflatables running indoors or mobile. That's actually a mobile event. Effectively, it's an indoor sports centre with those are all the inflatable doors, walls, windows set up. People do that, and with different gaming guns. You've got the zombie thing. Yeah, that's actually my daughter, just so you know. That's actually my daughter, Drew. She I don't think she was particularly happy at that stage. She really has a good look on her when she's not happy. You know it, right? And so I think that was from Thailand and some very other things. So this slide was just trying to give you an idea that this is really diverse, right? And we've got customers doing all sorts of things. Which is why in SATAR you'll find that it has loads and loads of features of which the vast majority never use, right? Because They're there for support the diversity, and no one should be trying to do everything. If you're trying to do everything, I'm going to lose it. Make it real. Zombie horror themes, you can see the different examples there. And reusing space, that's important. The inflatables particularly, but even if you're running mobile, what you're actually doing is reusing space that could be used for other things. And that's a big trend line, because if you look back at traditional indoor laser tag, it wasn't like that. It was like full-on permanent install, right? And it wasn't a flexible come in, move out, turnkey type of thing. You know, it'd be a major build out and then a big installation of everything. And,
my computer system.
all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
And that still happens, but it does change what facilities are viable. And we're very team focused, which is important. And we have game stats and session stats. And what you see is what you get, which is pretty cool. Now, one of the other trends, which I've sort of alluded to already, is this razor sharp marketing and matching the product with the brand. Now, I want to give you a little example of that from my own experience. In our history, we've done 2 television ads we've ever actually produced. Actually, that's not quite true. We've run some other stuff later, but the main things we did 2 ads. We did a $700 TV ad when we started, right? Which is not a lot, $700, right? You get a lot for $700. But actually, this guy loved what we did, and that ad was very successful. Right? It did a really good job of attracting people to our venue on a really small budget. We're just starting. This is 2000, I think, 2001 era, but the thing and that was really interesting. So, but after about 5 years later, we decided we needed to do a new ad, TV ad, right? Just to make it fresh. You know, the same ad forever, right? That's a bit boring. And we spent $25,000 on the production of the ad. This is not putting it to the ad. This is just the production side of an ad. You know, for a 30-second and a 15-second top and tail type TV ad, right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just slid. Sorry.
A top and tail type thing. And here's the interesting thing, that ad was a complete flop. Right? The graphics were vastly better. Right? The time spent editing and production, vastly better. And in fact, the first ad was really hard to even see anything, right? It was really grainy. It was, the sound quality maybe not so good. But $25,000, you get a good ad. Right? That will buy you a good TV ad, right? Really, really high production values. Absolute flop. And you go, well, that was really interesting, wasn't it? But say, look, why is that so? And actually, it's all to do with this razor sharp marketing, or in fact, lack of it in that case. Because the first ad was very, very clear what we're about, right? And it started something like, I remember it goes like, had a line of young men, camos, and it started form skirmish line in advance, like that, right? You know, and I had a picture of people advancing, and it was really funny because it was our regular players, and my wife and myself had to play the people holding the base, who then, we yell out, hold the line, and then we'd be seen running away, right? And then they'd capture the flag and hold it up and cheer, right? Because we couldn't get any volunteers to be seen on TV running away. There were no volunteers. All right, we're going to have to do it. It's only my wife and me are going to actually have to be the volunteers for that. Everyone, we're going to be hero on TV, right? And if we don't lose, right, we only win. That was funny. So a lot of attackers, hardly any defenders. But it was great, and it was really clear what it was about. It was for really well targeted, and people got it, and it met the suitability. Is that suitable for me for that particular group? And this other ad we did, we made an appalling marketing error. I can't even believe we're so dumb, but we did it. Mistakes in life, right? We said, lots of people come out and play Battlefield Live, and they do. Even with that map, you get a bell curve, and you get kids, and you get older people, you get corporate groups, you get all that stuff, right? So what do? We did an ad that covered all those groups. In 30 seconds, we covered the kids, we covered the adults. We created a guy who looked like he was 70, he was only 50, but a huge beard, grey hair, like 70. And we had, some people like were like in ghillie suits and stuff like that, like young adults really looking like they were hardcore. And this was all morphed into and flash graphics. And absolute flop. Phones in the ring, nothing happened. And the reason is really fundamental, and it's true marketing, and I can't believe we stuffed it so bad, is you've got to answer one question always. Is it suitable? Is it suitable for me and my group? And guess what? I worked out what happened. If you're looking for the kids' parties, all the mums could see was the ghillie suits and the camo and these really hardcore guys. And geez, am I really going to take my friends? Because bear in mind about the kids, is the woman's friends, the most important thing, right? What they're going to think of her. Am I really going to take my kids to that venue? What are they going to think? Right? Fine. Now, what about the older guys? Guess what they saw? They saw the kids. Which is, we want to outlaw it. Let's talk about outlaw brand and let's go with that. We want a really a military experience. We really want to learn combat stuff, right? And we want to be real heroes. Yeah. What did they see? They saw the kids' party. Geez, if it's okay for a 10-year-old to do it, it sure ain't okay for us. Because I can tell you something about teens and young adults, right? That they don't want to do what their parents think is acceptable. Right? If it's acceptable to them, it's not acceptable to me. Right? It's a rebellious stage in one's life. You're looking to push the limits. You're looking to go out there and do something that's right on the edge. Yeah? And so those guys saw we weren't on the edge anymore. We were on the edge, now we're not on the edge. Killed them. Right? Corporate groups are going, well, I don't know what that's about, they're not us. Right? It's all mixed up all over the place. So you're lost. So actually, in all of our key categories, it failed. And that is, and I've seen that a lot but you must match the product to the brand, and you need to be razor sharp. Really decide what you're about. Right? Don't mix it up. That is one of the big trends.
So, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
So, for us, and I'll relate it back, like we do most of our businesses at birthday parties.
Sure, absolutely.
And it's younger kids.
Yeah.
But yet, really, when we were outdoors and mobile, it was always older.
Yes.
And I would like to target the older.
Absolutely.
And so now, which I'm thinking of my advertising, the target market I want, because we're in a mall, I want corporate groups. But how is that, just from what you said, how is that going to affect my
Not impossible, Barry. My experience is that's extremely difficult, but not impossible. If you're going to do it, you're going to need a separate brand and a separate website for each one of those segments. You may even have to consider getting different staff. Because I can tell you staff are suitable to run one and not suitable for the other. It's not one size fits all your staff. Right? It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult to actually move from one of those segments to another, right? Mentally, changing the terminology, changing the way you present and how you relate. That's incredibly difficult, right? Now, what happens if you're in a small market? You're almost forced to diversify, right? If you're drawing, from a large population base, you just about certainly should be specialising, right? In one or no area. That's what I'm saying. But in a small area where you've got to try and get everyone, you probably need to work harder because you've got to get a broader groups to come to grow the business. But I can tell you why. Some of the reason is your website is because images change completely. Images change completely. And when we try to run out of one website and cover everybody, we are forever, ever debating what image. We look at an image and go, is that the right image? Put that image up. That's probably going to nail out the birthday parties. That's not really going to work for me. But hey, we put this other pet up. So the teens ain't going to like that. That isn't going to get their interest. That's going to look pretty tame, right? And we're going to lose them. You see what I'm saying? Like every single time, you are just conflicted, and so you something to really think about. But we actually that's why for us, we've actually got numerous websites, and they're all really different from each other.
I was just about to say, from a search engine optimization perspective, you would want separate websites anyway,
Sure you do.
because you're talking to different markets. So, you know, over time, individual keywords are getting harder and harder to get to the top of the list because there's more and more companies. So it's really best to specialize rather than water down your marketing message in your website.
Absolutely. So the other thing on trend is the ROI has changed a little bit because traditionally the laser tags are set of like 12 phases and are set up with $60,000 and you had the full setup.
Real quick, can you give me the names of your websites? How do they differ?
Look, laserskirmish.com, battlefield.com.au, laserskirmish.com.au, battlefieldlive.com.au, lasertag.com.au. If you actually look at those three websites, they are fundamentally different. Each one of them is very, very targeted for our big line. But bear in mind, we've got a pretty reasonably sized team of people now, and honestly, if I was doing it again, I would never, in terms of retail, I never would do all those things. Right? That is just too hard. I would be much better off specialising. But in a way, because of what we've done for sports, I sort of need to cover the different types from pretty challenging and realistic scenarios right to really simple backyard parties, because we need to really understand the DNA of the business. I wouldn't recommend anyone goes down the path we have, right? Exactly, because that does your head in. It's too hard. Maybe I'm not that clever, but it's really difficult.
I have a question.
Sure.
Have you found for somebody just coming into the business that a certain model is better for starting, like kids parties, as opposed to corporate groups or?
Look, it lot depends on your background, your skills, and your connections. So let's put that out there. This has to be. You've got to look at yourself and do some self-analysis too. Right. I'll talk a bit more about it later, but that's important. Right? But the path of least resistance, is no question is parties. Right. Birthday parties is the path of least resistance. Right, followed by in many cases church groups. Right, and I tell you why. Look, they're in terms of path of least resistance. But I say it's not the only way, and I don't want to say that you can really do some. And we met people over the last few days that would never do a birthday party in their life, right? And they're doing really strong business, right? Particularly in a big city, probably in a big city for that. But they do meet the criteria you always need in sales, right? You need a few things in sales, pretty much always. Everyone in sales, you see every TV advert you want to watch, there's always got to be a sense of urgency. You need to create I've got to buy now. You know, why am I doing it now? A lot of people say, I'd like to do this, something like that one day, that'd be really cool, but what gets them from yeah, that'd be cool to do, to actually doing it in a busy life? You know, we've always got lots of going on, plenty of stresses. What actually gets us to do it now, right? And the birthday party's brilliant, because I can tell you something about a birthday party. It has to be really close to the kid's birthday. It cannot be put off that long. It has to be within a week or so of his or her birthday. Right? It has to be. So you've actually already got a sense of urgency. The second thing which is important for us, and a lot of things, because this is a group activity, you're not wanting individuals. Right? You're wanting large groups, organised groups. That's what you want. If you really want organised groups to come down, and guess what? A party has as an organiser. Right? Fantastic. You've got an organiser. Right? You need an organiser. That's really important. And the third thing is really interesting is they've actually got a budget. Right? They don't have a budget, they're not doing it. Right? You actually have to have a budget, and you have to have the organiser, and you have to have a sense of urgency. So they meet that criteria really well. And therefore, you will find the majority of business around the world will be built on the back of birthday parties. Right? That's no question. Because And the other reason it's really interesting, I found, in that regard, right, is that they do get to a point once they're past doing the bowling and they've done the maybe McDonald's party, they may have gone some other things. They get to a point around 10 years old, they've done all that, and they really want to do something good. But so there is a gap there between about 9 to 14. There's a gap right there. There's a sweet spot for that. If you're aiming at that, probably 8 to 14, 9 to 14 in that. We do bucket loads, 10 loads, 12 players under that particular brand, right? So that is certainly a sweet spot. The other youth groups are really cool because they are always looking for activities that are fun and inclusive, and they can include the ladies and the guys in the same, right, to do stuff together and keep it fun, right? That's an important one. So those two are really, really good. In season, sports teams are huge too. The breakups. Again, they've got all the ingredients. They've got a budget, they've got an organiser, and they've got a sense of urgency. Because they tell you something about a sports team breakup, it has to happen pretty soon after the end of the sports season. Right? And it's usually team-oriented sports, some sort of football code, is usually the best. Individual, I think you'll find that individual sports, or even if it's dressed up a bit, like if you know actually baseball, I don't know, we've got cricket in Australia, but baseball is still more of an individual sport within a team context, right? It's still primarily about your batter and the pitcher, right? That's the key focus, and they're the real heroes of the event, and everyone around is more, just supporting them. Whereas a game like soccer or things that they're much more, everyone's engaged all the time. It's not such a focus on it, and those people really relate to what we do, particularly soccer. But But however, I say, I've known people that specialise in team building, right, and done really, really well with that. And I know people that have specialised in the outlaw group, which is your group that's wanting to rebel, wanting to do close quarters battles, what we're referring to, wanting to do that stuff, and they really want to take a computer game experience and really go to the next level, right? There's some interesting things about that too, which I should hopefully get to, but
the three groups that you were just talking about, the birthday parties, the 9 to 14-year-olds,
yep.
the sports teams, and I wasn't sure if you were saying at the end of their season?
Yeah, end of season.
End of season sports teams.
Yeah.
Church groups.
And then the church groups. Those all are pretty much the same advertising focus, correct?
Yeah, they work beautifully together. It's lovely synergy. The other reason why they do sports team breakups is so they come back next season. Right? That's the whole point of it. If they win, lose, whatever happens in the season, they won't leave you on a high. And I tell you, we're perfect for it. There is very few activities you can do that everybody participates in every game without waiting. Right? So that's when we end up running 150 people at a time, as we've in our battles, right, in games. Because everyone plays every game, and the sports team's big. They'll bring 30 to 40 people, and you put 3 or 4 of them together, plus your regular events, and before you're up to 150 people at once. And so that's most attractions or whatever. You get a little bit of experience and a lot of weight. That's typical. Right? If it's busy, which of course at that time it's really busy, everyone's really busy, right? But that business goes for about 8 weeks a year. Yeah, it's mad. If you get it right, it's absolutely mad. It's so busy. All of our staff know that no one's taking holidays. Right? You absolutely don't even think about a holiday. Right? We recruit staff that start training in terms of building up our numbers, casual staff, with view for that period, because we know it's coming. Right? And we know we're going to strain our resources to the absolute max. But I wish it was more spread out.